reading piano scores intimidating or time-consuming for you? Maybe you're even a pianist, but you'd like to gain more fluency in reading scores so that you can prepare new pieces more easily. Or maybe you play a melodic instrument that usually only plays one note at a time, and you'd like to be able to understand piano accompaniments or chamber music scores more easily. In this video, I'll be sharing techniques and exercises that you can do right away to level up your fluency in reading full piano scores. You don't even need access to a piano. Achieving fluency in reading full piano scores will save you time and frustration in the practice room, when analyzing new pieces, and in music theory and history classes. Piano scores can be complex and tricky to read even for pianists, presenting much greater challenges for non-pianists. But I believe it's a skill that can be developed much more easily and quickly than you might think, whether you're just making it by with the basics or whether you've been playing piano for years. This video is part 1 in a new series on reading full scores with fluency. Parts 2 and 3 will focus on orchestral and chamber scores. You can click subscribe if you'd like to be notified when these videos are released. And in the meantime, check out the other videos on the channel. They're all designed to help empower you to discover and develop your unique potential as a classical musician. One of the most helpful strategies for me personally was to listen to recordings of piano music while following along with the score. You can find many great historic and modern recordings on YouTube or other streaming services, and IMSLP is a great place to find free public domain sheet music. If you have access to a library with sheet music, that's a great place to access newer, non-public domain music, especially if you're just needing to reference the score and not play from it. In addition, you can listen to master classes or lecture recitals. Often in these, they'll work in sections, giving you more time to assimilate the details in the score. In addition to leveling up your fluency in reading piano scores, you'll have the opportunity to listen to a lot of great piano music. And in the case of master classes, you can glean really helpful tips on music and performance. As you're following along with the score, don't feel like you have to take in everything at once. When pianists learn pieces, especially for the first few years, they don't learn every single aspect at once. They'll separate hands, voices, etc. Try to recognize patterns, shapes, and gestures. In a big sweeping arpeggio, for example, don't focus so much on reading every single note, just get a sense for the whole shape. It's important when you're following a score to try to keep in the same measure as the recording. This can be tricky, especially on faster pieces. Note that you can listen to a section multiple times through to add new layers of detail, or if you're feeling too overwhelmed, you can always pause the recording. If you're more experienced, try to absorb and understand more details of the score on a single run-through. If you're a pianist, you can also visualize the sensations of physically playing the piece. I found this really helpful for my own playing. I recommend that you gradually increase the difficulty of the music you're working with. For level 1, I recommend checking out simple children's pieces. This doesn't mean you have to listen to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Schumann, Tchaikovsky, and Bartók, just to name a few composers, all wrote pieces for children as they were starting out to learn the piano. You can take advantage of the simple, clear nature of these pieces to help you understand scores more easily. For level 2, I recommend classical era sonatas by composers such as Mozart, Haydn, and Beethoven. While these sonatas can be extremely difficult to actually play, they are often written in a clearer, easier to understand form. For level 3, Try tackling more complex Romantic era music by composers such as Brahms, Mendelssohn, Chopin, or Rachmaninoff. Please note that these composers and pieces are just for your reference to get you started in the right direction. You can choose others according to your personal preferences. Note that it may be helpful for you to start with slower tempo music, or to simplify the amount of detail that you're trying to take in. For some faster music that's more complex, I know it's sometimes all I can do to just stay in the right measure. Ideally, you should look for music that is slightly challenging, but still simple and clear enough for you to not get overwhelmed. This will look different for each person, and it will change as your skills continue to develop in this area. If you found this video helpful, consider sharing it with a friend. And remember to stay tuned for part 2 of this series coming out next week. Thanks for watching. I love you all, and I'll see you soon.